This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Good afternoon, Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for November 16, 2022. And in the news this afternoon, government signs a deal with 2 U.S. facilities to train specialist nurses. The government has signed agreements with 2 U.S.-based facilities to improve health care delivery. Minister of Health and Wellness Dr. Christopher Tufton says the agreements were signed with the University of Miami and the Hartford Health Care System. Dr. Tufton, who was speaking Tuesday afternoon in the House of Representatives, said the deals seek to create opportunities for the training and development of specialist nurses, as well as lessen staff challenges in the public health sector. He added that the agreements will open the door for greater collaboration in technology and enhance the use in the telemedicine in the delivery of health care. The discussions coming on the MOUs have started, he said, adding that a draft joint training course outline has been developed, which will facilitate the training of the first batch of specialist nurses. No truth to NWC Strike Rumors, utility company says. The National Water Commission is denying rumors being circulated on social media of a strike at the company. It said the claim is entirely mischievous, as there is absolutely no truth to the declaration. The NWC said members of the public should ignore the claim. Additionally, members of the public should be aware that there are persons who, based on their misguided or selfish agenda, may have an interest in spreading wild and unfounded assertions, which can only cause a panic or undue alarm in the society, it continued in a release later Tuesday. It added that a person should trust the information only if it is from the NWC or from reputable sources, including established media. As Prime Minister presses emergency measure, Bunting calls it a propaganda move. Despite announcing that the freshly declared states of emergency have received the support from members of the parliamentary opposition, Prime Minister Andrew Holness and the government he leads could face a familiar hurdle when the security measure is to be extended beyond the initial 14 days. The hope expressed by Holness on Tuesday that his opposition counterparts would vote to extend the SOEs has seemingly been dashed by opposition spokesman on national security Peter Bunting's characterization of the latest declaration as a political theater. In a news interview Tuesday, Bunting said that SOEs were not a routine policing tool, noting that the Jamaica Labour Party administration has been using it unconstitutionally. Our position has been supported by 2 cases that have tested it in the Constitutional Court or Supreme Court so far, and we are quite frankly surprised that while the government has appealed one of the cases and the matter is still to be heard, the administration continues to use these unconstitutionally, Bunting said. In making the announcement at a press conference at the Jamaica House, the Prime Minister said that the government was moving to cauterize the murder rate, which has increased by 6.8% this year over the corresponding period last year. It had crested 8% just over a week ago. Up to November 13 this year, 1,360 persons have been murdered. The SOEs span Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland. Holness said he consulted with opposition leader Mark Golding about the SOEs but did not indicate whether he had received the support for the measure. The Prime Minister stressed that the surging crime wave was a cause for concern and that the crackdown would help to cramp violence in the lead-up to the Yuletide season. Holness said that the current SOE would seek to strengthen the security forces' powers to search. He said that the police would be placing emphasis on finding weapons and disarming gunmen. According to Holness, the security forces will be using intelligence to pursue persons who are intent on carrying out criminal activities and have the power to intimidate witnesses if they were brought before the courts. We would now, under the SOE, have the ability to hold on to such persons, but this is not arbitrary. The government does not believe in the arbitrary use of power, Holness said. Bunting, however, said that despite requests by Golding for a copy of the regulations of the new SOEs, the document is yet to be presented. I anticipated this type of move going into the JLP's conference. It is really quite shameful that they are politicizing crime in this way, Bunting said of the party's annual event set for November 20. He, however, indicated that the parliamentary opposition will in the days ahead discuss the government's latest SOEs. Bunting said that questions posed by the opposition about the chairmanship and the membership of the tribunal for the affected parishes are yet to be answered by the government. So this is not about a serious move to ensure the safety and the security of Jamaicans. This is a political propaganda move, Bunting insisted. According to the opposition spokesman, the declaration of SOEs in Kingston and St. Andrew did not rest the constitutional test, where action has been threatened on so extensive a scale that it is likely to endanger the public safety. He said the government insists that when violent crimes and murders are increasing, that is when SOEs must be introduced. Bunting said that in Kingston and St. Andrew so far this year, murders are down 17.5% and the shootings have declined 23.4%. Even by their own reasoning, there is no justification for it in Kingston and St. Andrew, he added. The opposition spokesman argued that the murder rate in St. Elizabeth is up by 75%, while Manchester's has jumped by 78%, yet no SOEs have been declared for those parishes. Commissioner of Police Major General Anthony Anderson told the journalist at Tuesday's press conference that the security forces were aiming to drive down murders by 40% under the new SOEs. Anderson said that the security forces have created what he termed 300 intelligence packages of persons who are causing problems in the various police divisions. He indicated that the so-called intelligence packages contain those who are wanted or are persons of interest. The commissioner noted that there are others who play a part in murders but do not pull the trigger. It doesn't mean that those are the only persons who may be detained. When those guys are in custody, murders drop. When they go back out, they continue to do it, he said. Attorney General Dr. Derek McCoy told the news that there was an attempt to tweak the new regulations to make them more acceptable. He said that the SOE regulations began in the 1970s and had been modified on several occasions to take into account the changes in the country's laws. McCoy reasoned that no one in recent times has challenged the SOEs themselves, but instead has brought cases against the state when its actors have not followed the regulations. The regulations have been challenged. The conduct of the regulations has been challenged, but I don't think states of emergency have been challenged. It is well entrenched in the Constitution, McCoy said. Council to target drug abuse in transport sector. Plans are being made to involve the public transportation sector and the less targeted groups in the fight against drug abuse and misuse, the National Council on Drug Abuse revealed on Monday. Executive Director at NCDA, Michael Tucker, said while there is interest to collaborate with the transport sector, it will be challenging to work with the group. There have been discussions about engaging taxi drivers and bus drivers, which is a difficult group to corral, he said during the news interview. It is a good suggestion and we need to follow up with them on how we can really find them at one particular spot, maybe a general meeting of that group in any particular point in time. Many drivers you will see with a spliff and a Red Bull in hand in the morning, which is their regular breakfast. It will take some time in behavior change and a change of attitudes and a number of other things. It is an interesting challenge, said Tucker. Sharing a similar point, research analyst at NCDA, UK Atkinson, said in the segmented audience, I don't think we have included that group, but certainly we recognize that it is an important group. At the same time, Atkinson noted that the NCDA is being required to build a capacity among groups that have not received much focus before. For instance, people with disabilities. We recently got a request from the Abilities Foundation to be able to focus on their population because they are also seeing an increase in the use of substances, and the elderly as well, which we got from the National Council for Senior Citizens, she said. We recognize that this is not just a youth issue, it is happening among different groups in our society, so there needs to be a broad-based approach to be able to tackle it, she added. In the meantime, the NCDA has embarked on targeting schools through a tour in recognition of Drug Awareness Month. The first stop was Jose Marti Technical High School, where approximately 2,000 students from the institution were registered and joined by students from several schools across St. Catherine and Clarendon. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.